Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. It's Alyssa Corman, Ed Carson here with your market update. On today's show, we're taking a look at Starbucks, Okta, as well as Tilray. But first, let's pivot our attention to the major indexes. We are down today, and it looks like we're around session lows here. We have the Dow down about 0.8% and the S&P 500 and NASDAQ down about 0.7% each. So while we are in the uptrend here, potentially some resistance, it looks like, for the NASDAQ.
Yeah, I mean, we had this kind of selling yesterday, but then rebounded later on.
Right.
I mean, we're hitting resistance around the 50-day line. The NASDAQ is right about there, as you can see here. You know, that's been a resistance area for the NASDAQ. It hasn't closed above the 50-day line since early October. The S&P and Dow are getting close to that level as well. You know, so I mean, at the same point, it's not the worst thing to have a little bit of a pause. We've been running up a lot. There haven't been many down days.
That's true.
And on an individual stock basis, a lot of stocks have run up. It wouldn't be bad for them to pause, maybe form handles, or just consolidate a little bit. So there's definitely an upside. Obviously, it'd be nice to have the stock market go up every day, but there's definitely good points to it.
That's right. And even though we do have the NASDAQ down, we have notable tech names like Netflix that are moving higher and looking to retake key levels.
And General Motors is surging above a couple of key levels as it had good earnings news today. So there are some positives out there.
All right, well, taking a look at Starbucks, we're seeing a gap down in shares today, down about 2.6% right now, off of the session low. Goldman Sachs downgrading Starbucks to neutral, saying that it could be one of the next consumer brands to warn on China. So tell us a little bit about that aspect.
I mean, Starbucks has basically pinned its hopes on Starbucks, you know, on China, and you know that's a huge growth there. It's huge expansion there, and the fact is that the Starbucks has already been sort of slumping the stock. I think since Apple made that big warning, it's really, you know, it had a huge gap up after earnings a few months ago. But since then, it's sort of pulled back. It's struggled to get back above its 50-day line in the last few weeks. So it is in a base-on-base formation. You know, so a lot of other restaurants are doing well. This one is a little bit not so much. You can see that blue line, the relative strength line, that's been coming down.
Yeah.
This is an IBD leaderboard stock in part because it held up reasonably well during the correction, but in the rally, it has not done as well. So it'll be interesting to see. China's economy is definitely slowing, and that's going to have an impact.
Yeah, it looks, well, it's holding its recent lows as of now, but below that 50-day line. So if it can continue to hold within this base, repair a little bit here, that 50-day line will be a test.
Yes, absolutely.
And taking a look at Okta in the security software space, pulling up the chart here, those shares are up 4% today and breaking out above a handle here. It's a little bit of a messy handle, but Okta, one name in this space that is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of software stocks that have been doing well. Some of them have been sort of butting up on buy points. And, you know, this one is moving out. Obviously, that is a pretty wild base. That is not surprising for Okta, which is a 2017 IPO. This is not one for the faint of heart in the sense it's not profitable yet. It's growing rapidly, but you know the handle is very deep. On the other hand, you could argue, well, it didn't undercut its lows. I mean, so it's like, look, when we're in a stock market correction, a bear market, when you have a handle, not a double bottom, it's almost, you know, it's like you don't want to necessarily punish the stock because it actually held up reasonably well, but it is wide and loose, and you know it's prone to big swings, and you know you'd like to see it a little neater on the right-hand side, but you know the market is still pretty volatile on the up and down side. So.
And we're seeing strong volume today and the relative strength line at a high, so two confirming indicators for Okta. And last but not least, let's take a look at Tilray in the cannabis space, retaking its 50-day line, a downward sloping line that is, but the gain is about 22%, heavy volume here. And one of the shareholders, Privateer Holdings, that owns 75 million shares, says it's not going to sell when the IPO lockup expires next week. What would be the next potential entry here for those who trade along the lines of the can slim trading style? We're looking for those proper bases.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have a buy point right now. I'm not sure what would be, I mean, with that 300 price level, I mean, that it's hard to see how that stock would basically have to rise to like 150, 200 before you could get above even a handle. So I mean, maybe you want to be sort of more reasonable and set up a little lower, like say treat the left side of the base a little lower than that. But it is pretty wild. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know when this will form, and it has no has no profits, no trend. I mean, maybe if it keeps on rallying for several weeks and then sets up a little bit, but it is a wild and crazy crazy chart.
But nonetheless, an area that we definitely want to be keeping our eyes on.
Yeah, it's definitely, and a lot of them are doing well, and it's going to be a growth area, and it's definitely going to have a lot of interest.
All right, well, only time will tell, but a big gain for Tilray today, that is for sure. Everyone, be sure to head to investors.com throughout the trading session and after the close. That's where you will find all the latest stock market news and analysis. We have great daily columns, too many to name here, but a few that are great to highlight would be IBD stock of the day. We also have IBD 50 growth stocks to watch, so a lot of opportunities to find stocks for your watch list.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's really what IBD does. It helps you find, with our stock list, with our stories, all about finding things for your watch list, finding stocks that are in buy zones, and that's basically what we're trying to do here.
That's right. And now that we do have the market in a confirmed uptrend, now is definitely a good time to be looking actively at where to buy. Okay, everyone, thanks for joining us. We hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here Monday.